In the heart of Aba, a city that pulses with noise, sweat and ambition, stood the mighty Araria International Market, a place where dreams are sold and destinies are rewritten every hour. They say if you haven't entered Araria, you haven't seen a real African market. It's not just a market, it's a living, breathing creature, a maze of voices, colors and chaos where you can buy anything from handmade gin to a prosthetic leg. This was the battlefield where a young woman named Zina decided to launch her big dream. Zina wasn't just any girl. She was smart, beautiful, and carried herself with a confidence that turned heads. She had tried her hand at selling perfume, makeup, and even hot catfish pepper soup, but now she wanted something bigger, something that would earn her respect and wealth. Textile was the new gold. Women flooded in daily from Port Harcourt and even as far as Lagos to buy lace and Ankara from Aba's market giants. Watching traders shout, smile, and even laugh while customers priced 15C 000 worth of material for OC 000 made Zina pause and say, "This market runs on courage and cleverness." She stood in front of Araria's iron gate one hot afternoon, arms folded, eyes focused, and whispered, "This market will hear my name." But Zina wasn't a fool. She didn't just dive in. For one whole month, she entered the market as an observer. No buying, no selling, just studying. She watched how sellers shouted, what jokes made people smile, and how drinks were used as secret sales weapons. She even bought tiny pieces of fabric from different stalls just to observe deeper. One day, she saw a trader offer a chilled bottle of Fanta with a gala snack to a tired-looking woman. Moments later, that same woman bought 2 bales of lace. Zina's eyes widened. Wow, this market runs on hospitality and a little manipulation. That night, she wrote down her notes in a spiral notebook with "Millionaire in the Making" written on the cover. Get a shop close to where people gather. Learn to shout without losing your voice. Always offer customers something to drink. Make every customer feel like family. Never let them leave without touching the fabric. With savings and a loan from her cousin, Zina rented a shop, not perfect, but right beside the public toilet. She complained at first until a neighbor told her, "Toilet area na gold. People go in to pee and come out to buy." She painted her walls in bright patterns, stacked shiny lace like treasure, and named her store Zina's Fabrics. Feel like royalty. Her first day, she wore a dazzling orange blouse with butterfly sleeves, sleek trousers and makeup sharp enough to slice bread. She tied her jewel like a queen heading to a coronation, and with a deep breath, she opened her door and shouted, "It is time to make money." By 9 a.m., Araria Market was awake. No, it was alive. The ground vibrated with footsteps. Traders poured out of their stalls like water from a broken dam. Shouts filled the air like drums in a festival. "Madam, come now, buy from me na original. Sweet sister, see fine lace." Zina stepped out of her shop and joined the chorus. She had been practicing at home, and her voice was strong, clear and sweet, like a town crier on a sugar rush. "Madam, enter my shop. This lace will carry you to heaven. Sweet auntie, you too fine. Just enter and see magic." Some women smiled at her boldness. A few entered, and that's when Zina faced her first reality check. The customers would walk in, smile politely, sit down, and then turn into lace inspectors. Is this original Swiss lace or imitation that's pretending to be original? One woman asked, lifting the fabric as if it were gold. Let me check around and come back." Another one said, after almost folding Zina's whole shelf like laundry. But they never came back. Zena stood behind her counter, sweat beading on her forehead. Is it my voice? Am I not fine enough? Or are they just not serious buyers? She thought, biting her lips in frustration. Meanwhile, her neighbor Madame Charity, with her broad hips and louder voice, was making sales like a magician on a street corner. Every few minutes you'd hear, "Auntie, bring POS. You get change for 500. Add that wrapper too." Zena couldn't help it. One day, she walked into Madame Charity's shop pretending to buy. That's when she saw the real secret, a mini fridge tucked into a corner. Before a customer even glanced at fabric, Madame Charity would open the fridge and say, "Take something, my sister. You look tired. Today is hot." With a cold drink in hand and a comfortable seat, the customer would smile, relax, and that's when Madame Charity would strike. "This material, you see this one, this is what they wear to presidential weddings. It will open doors for you." Boom, sale made. Zena stood outside her shop and watched the magic repeat again and again. She folded her arms, sighed and whispered, "Zena, you came to play with professionals, but two can play the game." That night, she walked home dragging her slippers through the dust, but her mind was racing. "I didn't come to Arbor to joke. I've never failed before, not in church drama, not in dance competitions. I won't start now." At home she wore her red pajamas with the words "Boss Lady" printed boldly across the chest, grabbed her notepad and scribbled "No more begging. Recruit street hustlers. Buy soft drinks in bulk. Master the art of sweet talk and packaging. Study customer faces, make them laugh. Add a final secret touch." Zena smiled to herself. Let the real game begin. With her plan written, heart beating with new energy, Zena woke up at 5 a.m. the next morning. She tied her red scarf, brushed her brows into perfect arcs, and threw on a wrapper printed with the words "My time has come." It was a sign. Today she would shift the market. By 6:30 a.m. more, she was already in front of Auraria Market, waiting not for customers but for her next asset, a hustler. It didn't take long. The market was crawling with street-smart boys who could sell salt to a snail. Then she saw him, a lean, sharp-faced guy with dreadlocks that looked like twisted spaghetti and confidence thicker than fufu. "Hey you," Zena called. He turned, grinning wide. "Auntie, you fine like 1 million naira." She laughed. He was perfect. "What's your name?" "Duke. But people de call me Area Voice." Zena nodded. "Good. From today you work for me. Per customer you drag into my shop, you earn commission. You ready?" Duke snapped his fingers. "I was born ready. We run this zone." And just like that, the game began. By 8:30 a.m., Duke was out on the front line like a politician on election day. "See better lace-o. Madam dem day dash lace for here. Come collect your own. This lace go confuse your in-laws. Fine pass Instagram vendor own." To Zena's surprise, women started following him. Some laughed at his energy, some rolled their eyes, but many followed. And that was all she needed. Inside her shop, Zena transformed. The moment any customer stepped in, she leapt up with the excitement of a lotto winner. "My sister, welcome. You are today's miracle." Before the customer could say, "I just one look," Zena had already unrolled a lace and flung it gently over her shoulder. "Chai. Look mirror now. You look like a first lady. You wear this one, even angels go bow." They giggled, they blushed, some even covered their faces. Zena would pretend to wipe tears from her eyes. "This lace is too fine on you. If I had your body, I'd wear it to my cousin's wedding tomorrow." It worked. It worked like magic. Customers began paying. Some paid more than planned. Others who swore to just price and go, ended up leaving with shopping bags and receipts. By the end of that week, Zena made more than her entire first month's sales combined. Her shelves were lighter, her voice was husky, but her heart was dancing. Duke, the hustler, even upgraded. He now wore designer look-alike sunglasses and came to work wearing loud perfume that arrived before him. "Madam Zena, don't change my life," he declared proudly. Traders nearby began whispering, "Who be that small girl with the crowd for front of her shop?" "That's Zena, the new queen of lace." But far away in a small compound in Hugo, Belinda was about to change everything. She scrolled through Instagram, saw a beautiful red lace posted by a vendor with the caption, "EA do 0000 limited stock." She gasped, "EA do 000 for lace. I fit enter Arbor Market and buy same for one today do 00." She didn't know it yet, but her journey to Arbor, and to Zena, would become a story she'd never forget. In the buzzing student lodge of Hugo, 4 girls were squeezed onto a thin mattress, the ceiling fan spinning lazily above their heads. It was late afternoon, and the sun filtered in through broken louve blades. Belinda, a sharp-tongued streetwise girl with a cracked techno phone, was scrolling through Instagram when she paused. "Ah, see this lace," she gasped. The post showed a stunning red lace shiny like fire under good lighting draped perfectly on a mannequin. The caption screamed, "EA do 000, limited stock, DM to order, no negotiation." Belinda nearly choked on her Gary. 50 watt. She turned the phone and showed her roommates. "EA do 50k for this same lace. Please, Arbor will humble that vendor," said Chioma, her roommate with big opinions and a louder voice. Another girl chimed in, "Babe, lace way you fit buy for E18k in Araria. Instagram day overdue." Belinda shook her head confidently. "Tomorrow I'm going to Arbor. I can buy this lace for half that price." And so the journey began. By 5 a.m. the next morning, Belinda was at the park. She wore her market outfit, an oversized top, old slippers, no makeup, full disguise to look like someone who didn't have money. Her plan was simple: act broke, price hard and win. The bus ride was long, dusty and noisy. Sellers pushed plantain chips and sachet water through the window. She arrived Arbor by noon, the market already in full heat. As she walked through Araria, traders screamed from every corner, "Fine girl, enter na. Madam, come buy lace, we dash 1 yard extra." Belinda ignored them. She was focused. But fate, or maybe fashion, had other plans. She took a wrong turn trying to dodge a shouting hawker, and landed right in front of Zena's shop. Zena, who had just finished arranging her fabrics, looked up, and her eyes lit up. "Fresh customer." She smiled wide and stood up, her voice smooth as honey. "Auntie, welcome. You're the reason the sun is shining today." Before Belinda could respond, Duke handed her a chilled bottle of Sprite. "Just take. You look like person way do walker under hot sun." Belinda hesitated but took it. Cold drink in one hand, fan breeze in her face, and then bam! Zena threw a luxurious red lace over her shoulder like a royal cape. "Look mirror my sister. Ah, if I be man, I go marry you on the spot." Belinda giggled. "Stop now. See how the color matches your skin. You look like a governor's wife. No jokes." Zena's voice melted her defenses like butter, and before Belinda knew what was happening, Zena said, "This lace? Last 2 remaining in the whole of Nigeria. Don't dull. 70,000 promo price." 70. Belinda blinked. Her throat dried instantly. Zena leaned in. Let me remove O&K for your transport. In her daze, Belinda pulled out her card. POS beeped. Transaction successful. It wasn't until she was on the bus heading back to UO, clutching the lace in a nylon bag, that it hit her. Wait. What just happened? The bus ride from Arbor to UO had never felt this long. Belinda sat quietly by the window, her face blank, her mind racing. Her hand clutched the nylon bag that held the red lace like it was a baby. The same lace she had promised herself she would get for no more than $20,000. Now it was sitting on her lap, paid for at $70,000. Her throat was dry, her body tired, and her brain confused. The other passengers chatted, laughed, or dozed off, but Belinda sat still like someone who had just come out of a trance. 70,000, she whispered. As in 70, not 17. By the time the bus reached UO, it was already evening. She stepped down like a soldier returning from war, limping emotionally. As she entered the lodge, her roommates jumped up from the bed, excited. Babe, you're back. Ah, see our market queen. Show us the lace now. Chioma grabbed the nylon bag and carefully unwrapped the lace. All the girls gasped. Chineke, this lace fine, ooh. E-choke, another said, stretching it out to admire the sparkles. How much? One of them finally asked. Belinda hesitated. 70. What? Chioma asked, her eyebrow raised. Belinda stared at the floor. 1,000. Silence. Then laughter. Loud, uncontrollable, bed-shaking laughter. Wait, Chioma said, tears in her eyes. You left Instagram lace for ETK, entered Arbor, used your own leg, and paid you an 70K. This one na premium welcome package. Oh, another girl added. Zena dealt with you properly. Belinda chuckled softly at first, then joined the laughter. But deep down, something changed in her. She respected Zena. That woman wasn't just selling fabric, she was selling magic. And Belinda, she had been enchanted. Meanwhile, back in Araria, Zena was dancing to a Bluetooth speaker in her shop. She had made record-breaking sales, and even Duke was getting bonuses. Zena the Queen, the traders were calling her now. But success brings attention and jealousy. Whispers started. Her lace day fly off shelf too fast. You sure say she no day use something. E get one smell way day come from her shop. Oh, Zena didn't care. Her eyes were on a bigger goal. The Textile Association election. A leadership seat was opening soon, and she wanted to become secretary. That title came with free drinks at meetings, access to premium customers, and more respect in the market. There was just one condition to qualify. You had to have at least one apprentice learning under you. And that was Zena's only weakness. She didn't trust anybody with her sales secrets. But all that was about to change, because soon someone would walk into her shop and offer to learn. Someone with big eyes, a sharp mouth, and too much energy for her size. Her name, Tari. It was a hot Wednesday afternoon in Araria. The market air was thick with dust, perfume, and fried akara smoke. Zena was seated in front of her shop, sipping cold Zobo, and mentally rehearsing the campaign speech she planned to give at the upcoming Textile Association meeting. She already saw herself as Madam Secretary Zena. The vision was clear, but she had one small problem, and it wasn't lace or rent. It was the requirement. To qualify for the secretary position, she needed to have an apprentice. Someone learning under her. A protégé. Every other woman in her circle already had one. Young girls who ran errands, shouted "Welcome, Ma" at customers, and fetched food from nearby stalls. But Zina, she didn't believe in training strangers. "They'll steal my tricks," she always said. Packaging in sweet mouth is not something you can teach anyhow. So when a short, round-faced girl with tiny hands and a sharp voice came knocking on her shop door that afternoon, Zina barely looked up. "Auntie, good afternoon, Ma," the girl said, standing beside an older woman. Zina nodded. "Yes, my name is Tari. This is my auntie. I want to learn under you, Ma. Anything you ask me to do, I will do. I can sweep, hype, clean, even dance for customers." Zina chuckled. "Can you keep quiet when necessary?" "Yes, Ma. I can even zip my lips for 1 week." The older woman, Tari's aunt, stepped forward. "Please, help us. She just finished secondary school. Instead of wasting time at home, let her learn a skill. She admires you so much." Zina eyed Tari carefully. She was small, but her eyes were sharp. Too sharp. But something about her energy reminded Zina of herself. "Okay," Zina said slowly. "You'll be on 1-month probation. If you mess up, I send you home. Do you hear me?" "Yes, Ma. I won't mess up." And so, just like that, Tari became Zina's apprentice. From day one, Tari was a sponge. She soaked in everything. She learned how to smile at customers like they were long-lost cousins. She memorized the timing of when to serve the cold drink, after they sit, before they ask price. She studied how Zina added 05000 extra to any customer wearing a luxury wig. She mastered the classic move: place lace on shoulder, direct to mirror, throw compliment like perfume. "Why must they sit before we sell?" Tari asked once. Zina smiled. "Because when they sit, they relax. When they relax, they forget to say no." It worked like magic. Even Madame Charity, who used to call Zina new girl, now whispered to other traders, "Let your apprentice they try. Hold 'em well, before another woman go collect her." Zina nodded with pride. For the first time she was starting to believe she could delegate. Tari was sharp, loyal, and full of zeal. But what Zina didn't know was, Tari was also I too do it d. A little too eager, a little too extra, and that extra would soon cost Zina everything. The sun rose gently over Araria Market, casting golden rays through hanging wrappers and banners that read "Buy 2, get 1 free." It looked like a normal day, but for Zina it was special. Today was the final Textile Association meeting before the elections. She needed to show her face, shake hands, and remind people, Zina is ready for leadership. She arrived at her shop, early in her signature red money lace, golden earrings, and confident smile. Before leaving for the meeting, she looked at Tari, now her trusted apprentice, and gave her final instructions. "Don't touch anything on the top shelf," she said firmly. "Just attend to customers, make sure they sit, and use everything I've taught you." Tari saluted playfully. "Yes, Ma. No mistakes today." Zina smiled and left. But the moment her footsteps faded down the corridor, Tari looked around the shop, like a general surveying her army. Today she had plans. Big plans. "Let me surprise Madam with a deep cleaning," she whispered to herself, rolling up her sleeves. "She will be so proud." She began sweeping, mopping, wiping every shelf, every plastic drawer. She cleaned under the table, rearranged lace bundles by color, and finally dragged a small stool to reach the top shelf. Zina had warned her about. That's when she saw it. A dry banana leaf, tied with old thread and tucked behind a plastic basket. It looked like forgotten rubbish. Curious, Tari untied it. Inside was a strange purple powder, smelling like dried hibiscus and burnt garlic. "Ew, what is this?" she muttered. Without thinking twice, she blew it into the air like dust and tossed the banana leaf into the bin. Cleanliness is next to godliness, she said proudly. She mopped the floor, lit a scented candle she brought from home, and sat at the front desk waiting for customers. The first customer arrived by 11 a.m. Tari jumped up with her brightest smile. "Welcome, Ma. Please have a seat," she said cheerfully. As the woman sat, Tari selected a peach lace and draped it over her shoulder. "This one was made for you, I swear. You look like royalty." The woman touched the lace, then frowned. "How much is it?" "ESO 55,000, Ma," Tari replied confidently. The woman laughed, stood up, and walked out without a word. Tari blinked. "That's odd." Another woman came in. Same smile, same drink, same shoulder trick, same outcome. No sale. By 3 p.m., Tari had spoken to 5 women and sold nothing. She was sweating now, confused and nervous. Zena returned from her meeting, holding 2 meat pies and a bottle of Zobo in a nylon bag. "My girl, how far?" she asked, dancing into the shop. Tari gave a weak smile. No sales yet, Ma, but I cleaned everywhere, even the top shelf." Zena froze mid-step. "Top shelf?" "Yes, Ma. I even threw away that old banana leaf with funny-smelling powder. It was looking like jazz." Zena's smile vanished. "You did what?" "I threw it away, Ma. It smelled funny." Zena dropped the Zobo. Her lips trembled. "Oh God, Tari, you've finished me." Zena sat on the cold floor of her shop, her back against the wall, her face buried in her hands. Tari stood frozen near the counter, unsure whether to cry or disappear. The words echoed again in Zena's head like a curse. "You threw it away, Ma." That banana leaf wasn't just decoration, it was her secret. The mysterious purple powder inside had been her lucky charm, her silent salesman. It had turned unsure customers into loyal buyers. It was given to her months ago by an old herbalist who whispered, "As long as this powder remains wrapped inside the banana leaf, your favor will never run dry. But if it is touched or thrown away, everything will disappear." She had been warned, and now it was gone. That night, Zena barely slept. She tossed and turned, praying, pacing, calling the old man's number, but it was switched off. She even went to the last address she had for him, but neighbors told her he had moved without a trace. She knew the damage was done. The next day, Zena arrived at her shop, wearing her most dazzling red lace, gold bangles, and a hopeful heart. Maybe it was all in her head. Maybe things would still go well. Duke was already outside, calling customers in his usual dramatic way. "Come see lace that will humble your village people. Madam, this one will make your in-laws bow." A woman followed him in. Zena jumped up. "My sister, you are welcome." She beamed, throwing a bright blue lace on the woman's shoulder. "Look at this. It's calling your name." The woman smiled politely, touched it, then stood up. Let me check around and come back." She didn't. Another came. Same pattern. Touch. Smile. Walk away. By noon, Zena had sold nothing. By 3 p.m., she had managed to sell just 1 yard of plain and Cara for 1,000. Her worst sale day since she opened the shop. Tari, trying to fix the situation, returned with 2 meat pies. "Madam, I bought snacks for us," she said with a shaky smile. Zena looked up slowly, her eyes red with anger. "Snack? Snack for what?" Tari stepped back. I thought maybe, get out of my shop before I use lace to tie your destiny." Zena snapped. Tari dropped the nylon bag and ran out of the shop in tears. That evening, Zena didn't even lock her shop properly. She just sat, staring at the empty chair where customers used to sit, now cold and quiet. She had gone from market queen to market ghost. And the worst part, this was only the beginning. Because the next morning, Zena returned to find her worst nightmare waiting for her. The shop she once called her empire was now completely empty. The morning air in Arbor was unusually still, like the market itself knew something terrible had happened. Zena arrived at Araria before the usual crowd. She was determined to push through the slump, to reset, to pretend like the purple powder had never existed. She wore her favorite lace, a bold royal red that once screamed power, and her matching slippers echoed softly as she approached her shop. But the moment she turned the corner, her breath caught. She stopped. Her heart dropped. Her shop, her beautiful, once busy, colorful shop, was empty. Not half empty, not stolen piece by piece empty. Completely swept clean. Gone were the lace bundles stacked high like hills of treasure. Gone were the Ankara fabrics with screaming colors. Gone were her plastic chairs, her wallpapers, even the small POS machine. Even the fan was gone. Zena's mouth fell open. She walked in like a zombie, hands trembling, eyes darting left and right. She opened drawers, empty. Checked under the counter, nothing. Even the safe where she kept emergency cash had been cleared. She staggered outside, hands on her head. Thieves! I've been robbed. My shop. Somebody help. A small crowd gathered. Fellow traders ran over. What happened? Who broke into your shop? But something was off. There were no signs of forced entry, no broken locks, no damaged doors. And in Araria, that could only mean one thing. Whispers began. You sure say Zena own never expire. I talk before. She day use something. Now don clear. Even juju get expiry date. Zena stood helplessly in the middle of the murmurs, feeling her image crumble before her eyes. Then came the final blow. That afternoon, the Textile Traders Association called an emergency meeting. Zena was summoned and told in front of her peers, due to recent strange occurrences and the loss of business integrity, you are suspended from all association activities until further notice. Zena didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just nodded slowly and walked out, shaking, embarrassed, empty. Even Duke, her once loyal hustler, now worked for Madame Charity. When she saw him in the market the next day, wearing her signature color and calling for another woman, she tried to wave. He turned his face the other way, as if she didn't exist. Zena tried to ask other big textile sellers for help. She even went to Madame Ifioma, the queen pin with 3 shops. Please ma, let me even just be your apprentice. Let me learn from scratch, she begged. But Madame Ifioma didn't let her finish. No, please, I don't need bad luck. Go and find your helper somewhere else. Zena begged 2 more traders. They all refused. Within 1 week, Zena's empire crumbled like a forgotten biscuit in rain. She packed her things, just 1 small Ghana must-go bag, and left the market. Araria had chewed her up and spat her out. Months passed. The buzz of Araria market continued like nothing ever happened. New shops opened. New faces appeared. Traders shouted, laughed, and lived as if the legend of Zena the market queen had never existed. The shop that once smelled of cold drinks and soft lace now sold baby clothes. Her name faded into whispers, then into memory, until one Tuesday morning, a brown ASP truck, a bus sanitation and public authority, rolled into the market as usual. The workers began sweeping gutters, collecting trash and unclogging blocked water paths. Business went on, but then someone paused. A woman pointed and whispered, "Wait, is that not Zena?" Heads turned, eyes widened. There, wearing a green reflective vest, long broom in hand and heavy boots, was Zena, sweeping dust from the gutters outside the same market that once bowed at her feet. The woman who once dressed like a governor's wife now tied a faded scarf around her head, her lace replaced by uniform. Sweat dripped from her forehead, but her strokes were clean, firm, deliberate. Madame Charity nearly dropped her bag of stock. "Zena, you're sweeping gutters." Zena looked up calmly, eyes still sharp despite the fall. She smiled. "Good morning, Ma." "Longest time," another trader whispered. "This life no balance." A fruit seller shouted from the corner. "Auntie Zena, no vexo, but you once made me buy lace instead of paying rent. I suffered that month." Zena chuckled. "Ah, forgive me now, but at least the lace fine small a buy." The crowd laughed. Some shook their heads in pity, others smiled, but none of that mattered to Zena. She had learned the hard way that life is unpredictable, that shortcuts may work for a while, but true success, real, lasting success must be built with clean hands and patience. She had gone too fast, too soon, compared her morning with another's evening, and she paid the price. But she wasn't broken. No, every morning now she swept the market like it was a runway, not for glory, but for survival. She hustled for her urgent 2K, like every other honest woman in Abai. She had learned, and as the broom moved in rhythm with her thoughts, one truth echoed in her heart: life will test you, but it's what you do after the fall that shapes who you truly are. This is more than a story about a woman, a powder, or a market. It's a story about ambition, greed, trust, and the painful but beautiful process of starting over. So, bestie, what did you learn from Zena's journey? Don't rush your process. Don't envy another's shine without understanding their shadow. And above all, build with truth.